Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be talking about the brand new Buckingham DH-7 Iron Mule in Grand Theft Auto Online. This helicopter was added with Oscar Guzman Flies Again, the new DLC that came out on March 4th of this year. Now, I've seen a lot of other YouTubers talk about this vehicle in particular, and it doesn't really seem like any of them actually have a clue about the capabilities of this helicopter. So I figured I would actually investigate it and find out if it's good, instead of just lying and saying that it cannot lift a bunch of vehicles, that it actually can in fact lift. Now, spoiler alert, this vehicle is actually extremely useful, I've found, but I will let you judge for yourselves. And to start things off, we're going to talk about what is probably your most important question: what exactly can the Iron Mule carry? Now, I've tested the Iron Mule's lifting capabilities on nearly every single possible business sale vehicle in GTA Online, as well as some of the resupply vehicles as well. Now, before we start and before we get into this, I would always recommend entering whatever vehicle you want to lift with the Iron Mule to mark the drop-off location or the location where you need to go to bring the vehicle or to take it. Some vehicles, when you exit them, remove the drop-off or the pickup point on them, so this is a good practice until you really get the hang of which vehicles are going to tell you while you're flying the Iron Mule towing them where they need to be dropped off and what vehicles are not going to do that. So anyway, we're going to start off with what is probably going to be your number one business that you would like to use the Iron Mule for, and that is MC business sales. And sadly, no motorcycle club business sale vehicles can be picked up using the Iron Mule. I've tested this on every single one, but unfortunately this was the same with the Cargo Bob. So really nothing is too bad with the Iron Mule. It's not like this is a knock against it. The Cargo Bob couldn't do this either, so it's really no loss. Now, I will just say though that even though the delivery vans or the trash trucks are god awful, the Iron Mule being able to lift them wouldn't actually be that useful in the first place. Now, you might be able to skip a mile or two of driving like to the city, for example, but once you get into the city, the drops are so close together that it really wouldn't make that much of a difference as far as saving you time. Now, don't get me wrong, it would be nice to skip the 1 or 2 miles uphill from any of the Sandy Shores locations for the MC businesses, or if you have your businesses in the city, it would definitely be nice to be able to skip going up the hill. At the end of the day, it's not the biggest loss of all time. Now, I will say it would be nice to lift the single vehicle sale missions that you get with some of the MC businesses that were added back in 2022, like the single vehicle pounder or the single vehicle gang burrito sale mission that you can get for a couple of the businesses, but unfortunately that's not the case either. Now, moving on to another business that would benefit a lot from a vehicle like the Iron Mule, we have the bunker. And certain bunker sale vehicles can be picked up and flown to drop points with the Iron Mule. For example, the Insurgents with the Global Signal Jammer, as well as the Insurgent pickups with cargo in the backs of them, or the god-awful Merryweather mission that requires you to fight Merryweather at each drop. Those can all be lifted with the Iron Mule. Additionally, you can also use it for the Phantom Wedge trailer sale missions. However, something to note is that you cannot pick up the Phantom Wedge and the trailer at the same time. It's either the Phantom Wedge or the trailer. This means that when you reach the drop location, you'll have to get some sort of vehicle. And now, I'm not explicitly sure if it needs to be able to tow the trailer or not, because as you can see in the footage here in the background, I'm not actually attached to the trailer with my MOC that I ended up calling to just see if it would work for this, and I just got close to the drop point and then the mission completes itself. So I'm not really sure what exactly happened there. Some further testing will need to happen, but you can lift the trailer to the drop point. You might just need to go and find a semi, which of course you can use your mobile operations center for if you have one, or you can go and find a semi elsewhere. And in fact, if you drop the trailer close enough to the final location, I do think that honestly just driving up close enough to it is going to complete the mission most times, but I'm not 100% sure on this. So do just take that with a grain of salt and know that you might need to get some sort of vehicle that can actually tow the trailer. Okay, so this is me jumping in after I've actually recorded the voiceover for this video, and I was helping Twingo to do a sale mission with the bunker, and we got the trailers, and we were actually able to complete the sale mission without getting out of the Iron Mule, except I had to complete the sale. But I got close, and I mean really close, with the Iron Mule to the drop point once both of the trailers were at the drop point and the mission completed. So I'm really not sure. Sometimes the mission will say that this vehicle is not suitable for this drop off, but then it worked anyways. So I'm really not sure how this works fully. If you know anything about it, comment down below and let us know. That's what it said before too when I did this for the first time. Oh, okay. You just have to get your vehicle close enough so you don't even need a truck. Okay, that's so good to know. Just to note, this thing can also pick up the ammunition delivery dune loader, and this will make that mission extremely fast to complete. And additionally, I was able to hook onto a bunker resupply vehicle with the Iron Mule, which sped up the resupply mission by a lot. Now, I don't think this necessarily means that you should do the actual resupply missions instead of just buying supplies, but it definitely can help to make them a lot faster. So if you don't like spending money on your supplies, this may be a very clutch vehicle for you. Moving on to the nightclub, the Iron Mule can be used to deliver the Pounder Custom and the Speedo Custom to any drop points. I have also confirmed that the Mule Custom can also be picked up using the Iron Mule as well. I just don't have gameplay of it because I do not personally own one. The Speedo and the Pounder both certainly work though as well, although the Pounder is a little bit tricky to get the hook to attach to it, but if you just keep trying, it will work. I have heard that if you have the guns on the roof of the nightclub vehicles, the hook will be much trickier to attach, although I can't really confirm this because I had absolutely no problem with my Pounder and the AA turret equipped on it, or the Speedo with the minigun. So maybe it's just a skill issue and maybe I'm just so good at the game that I was able to get it to hook, but no matter what, it will hook. So that is the important part. Next up, we got the vehicle cargo business, and the Iron Mule was able to pick up all but one of the vehicles in vehicle cargo sourcing missions that I attempted it on. I do think that I probably just messed up when I tried to grab the Zentorno that I wasn't able to grab, and I just missed a pickup spot on it because it worked for literally every other vehicle that I tried it on. As a person who's always absolutely hated vehicle cargo as a business, I actually think that the Iron Mule is so efficient that it's kind of hard to completely discredit this as a business anymore. I think this is actually a pretty viable business if you do own an Iron Mule. I actually think it's really worth doing, to be completely honest. Moving on to the Chop Shop, this is something I haven't seen anybody talk about, but you can technically pick up the Chop Shop tow truck cars with the Iron Mule. However, and this is a big however, they will become glitched when you get them back and pick them up with the tow truck just outside of your chop shop and take them inside, and you won't actually get the missions to be completed. They'll be glitched and there will be no car within your chop shop and you will not get paid for it. This is due to the fact that you haven't brought the tow truck itself to the pickup point. And something that is important to note though is that you can pick up the tow truck with the Iron Mule and fly it to the cars and then just drive them back with the tow truck. But make sure to get in the tow truck and mark the car's location before you pick it up with the Iron Mule, because when you're in the Iron Mule, you will not get the pickup location. So you're gonna have to land, drop the tow truck, get in it, find out the location, and then mark it. So just mark it before you pick it up. And this can actually be a massive time saver for those vehicles that spawn 3 or 4 miles away, because you're nearly cutting your travel time in half essentially. And instead of just blowing up the tow truck like we used to be able to do and just starting a new one instantly, there is that 2-minute cooldown now. So it is really worth owning an Iron Mule so you can just fly to whatever pickup location you got for your tow truck mission and just pick it up and drive it back. Next up, we got the hangar. The Iron Mule can pick up any hangar sale vehicle that involves a land vehicle. So do your sales by land if you own an Iron Mule. Something important to note is that the truck and trailer mission works similarly to that of the bunker, which you can only take the trailer by itself, which again with the hangar will require a vehicle to move it at most drop points. For the Weenie Issy custom sale mission, the Iron Mule is really only useful for getting it to the first drop, but it can speed up the initial drop. But after that, it's probably just quicker to drive the vehicle itself to all the drop points. And something that is unfortunate with the hangar is that every time I tested the Iron Mule when sourcing hangar cargo, I was unable to pick up any of the vehicles, so that does kind of suck, but it does help for the sale missions. Next up, we got CEO cargo, and sadly, despite the Iron Mule being exceptionally useful for vehicle cargo, it is nowhere near as useful for the older CEO cargo business. I attempted some vehicle pickups for sourcing CEO cargo, and I also attempted to pick up the Brigade land delivery vehicles for a CEO cargo sale mission, and it did not work for any of them at all. So that does suck. Now luckily CEO cargo sales are extremely soloable as it is, but it still would have been awesome if the Iron Mule was able to be used to speed things up just a little bit. And finally, we have the Acid Lab. The Iron Mule can pick up the Acid Lab delivery bike, but because you're not on the bike, you won't have the drop-offs marked for a lot of the sail missions. Now the gameplay I have in the background here, luckily it was marked, but this won't always be the case, so make sure to mark your drops before picking up the Acid Lab delivery bike. And something that is also important to note about the Acid Lab is that it can hook onto the MULE for the Acid Lab resupply mission, which is very, very helpful and definitely something that is worth doing. Now I'm sure many of you guys are curious to know, how good is the Iron Mule compared to the Cargo Bob? I'm sure you've probably seen something about this before, but the Iron Mule has a significantly faster top speed than the Cargo Bob while also having much greater acceleration. Now we don't have an actual top speed figure for the Iron Mule just yet, but I would estimate it to be at least 150 miles per hour, while the Cargo Bob has a top speed of only 99.5 miles per hour, and this isn't factoring in carrying any cargo with the Cargo Bob. The Cargo Bob has extremely slow acceleration to begin with as well, so even getting close to that top speed will take a while, and if you're lifting something, good luck. Now as far as lifting power goes between the two vehicles, it's kind of a hard thing to measure, but what I can say is this though. With the Cargo Bob over the years, I've ran into plenty of vehicles that I can latch onto, but I can either barely lift, or that I can latch onto but not lift at all, like the Mammoth Patriot Stretch, the Brigade, as well as many other vehicles. However, since using the Iron Mule, I have not found a single vehicle that it can latch onto and not lift with absolute ease. Comparing the Iron Mule to the Cargo Bob lifting a Rhino tank shows a very clear victory for the Iron Mule in vertical acceleration as well as horizontal acceleration, and top speed and maneuverability also show extreme favor towards the Iron Mule over the Cargo Bob. Now, I'm sure you're probably wondering about armor between the two vehicles, and the armor stats also show a massive and decisive victory for the Buckingham DH-7 Iron Mule, being able to take roughly double the damage of the Cargo Bob. For the Iron Mule, it's going to take 6 RPGs to fully destroy it, whereas the Cargo Bob, it is going to take 3. For the Iron Mule, it's also going to take 6 homing missiles, whereas the Cargo Bob is only going to take 3. And as far as explosive rounds go, the Iron Mule will take 14, and the Cargo Bob will only take 2, whereas the Iron Mule will take 12 railgun shots, and the Cargo Bob will only take 2. Now another thing to note is that the Cargo Bob and the Iron Mule both have bullet resistant windows, which is really nice, and they're the same ones that are found on the Bravado Buffalo STX and the rest of the first gen Imani Tech cars, which can take 15 shots from an assault rifle before braking. So they're pretty standard, but it is still a nice thing to have. And now for the most important question about the DH-7 Iron Mule. Why is it so fucking loud? This thing is insanely loud. It is so loud. I had to turn my game volume down just to fly this thing. It's actually crazy. Now to answer this, we first need to understand why helicopters actually fly. As a helicopter's rotor blades cut through the air, they create and deflect air, and this causes a disruption in the air's natural state, which causes a wake similar to what boats do, and this causes a disruption to the next rotor blade as it comes around and into the wake of the previous one. This causes a phenomenon commonly referred to as blade slap, which generates a fair bit of noise. Now, judging by the fact that the rotor blades on the Iron Mule are about 25 feet wide and 900,000 feet long, I think we can chop it up to blade slap. However, this coupled with thickness noise and blade vortex interaction, which pushes the sound downwards towards the ground, help to make it unbearably loud. Now, if any of that actually mattered at all, that would be the true answer. However, this is a video game and Rockstar just simply made this helicopter really fucking loud. Maybe if they see this, they could very kindly turn down the volume of the Iron Mule for us. That would be awesome. Hashtag please turn down the Iron Mule volume, Rockstar, in the comment section down below if you'd like to see them do something about this. Let's get this shit trending. We gotta fix this because this is the biggest problem this helicopter has. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed or if you learned something, and consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. That's it for the video, guys. That's everything you need to know about the DH-7 Iron Mule. It is a very good helicopter and I would highly recommend owning one. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.